Hello everybody, it's Professor Parrish, and we are going to go over the next to last week of lecture video. Oh my gosh, we are at finals week after this coming week, which is crazy. So, what I'm going to do is talk about what's due this coming week, and then talk about finals week. I am hopefully by Tuesday next week going to have one more video to kind of encapsulate the course and talk about grades and everything else. But this is the second to last video for lecture for English 109. So as I'm recording this, we are still in week 16. So if you have not done your grammar review, reading response, or the discussion forum, please make sure that you get those assignments completed by tonight at 11:55 p.m. What's due this coming week is kind of our lead up to the end of the semester. So we have a final reflection due, which I'll talk about. We will have the grammar review number 10, our last grammar assignment in the course, and then our discussion forum, and talk about it. So let's start off with the final reflection for the class. So the final reflection is due by Sunday, May 5th. And what this is it's kind of my version of getting us a course evaluation, because we don't really have an evaluation for the course. So I am always open to students giving me suggestions about what we can do to improve the class. What did you like about the class? What works? What could use more work? I'm always open to critiquing and changing the class as it develops. So for this final reflection, what you'll do is it basically is just a page long, double-spaced, in the appropriate formats listed here. And what I'm asking you is to do a quick introduction about how you overall felt about the class, what your thoughts were going into it, and now that you're coming out of the class. The body paragraphs should explain what your favorite assignment was, any challenges along the way with the class, and what you would change about the class. And I do ask you to be honest, because if something doesn't work, then I definitely reconsider it and consider changing it. But if you liked something, I definitely want to improve upon that and keep it. And then you have a conclusion where you do your overall thoughts about the class and moving forward, what you're expecting with 121 and 122, what you're expecting in your future English classes, just things like that. I teach 122 as well, so it gives me kind of an insight into what you're expecting and what I can help develop and focus on if you all take me as 122 instructor. I haven't done 121 in a few years. Usually Miss Bellman teaches it, or Archie Blair teaches it, or Miss Rohim Sheffer teaches it. So I kind of focus on 122, and then 109 and reading 106 are my other focuses as well. So that is the final reflection. It's worth 20 points. It's due Sunday, May 5th. Also due Sunday, May 5th is going to be your last grammar review, which is the very last assignment from our textbook. We will have a final exam, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But your final grammar review, opening it up, it's basically the same format as what we've been doing as far as this class goes. There is, I'm going to pull it up here, a section on pages 544 to 552. We've talked a lot about introductory phrases, and you've probably noticed me comment in your papers or writing assignments that you need to have a comma in place when you have an introductory phrase or an interrupting phrase. It's just a grammar mechanic, and that's what this chapter focuses on. So it's just a few quick assignments. One is noting where the introductory phrase ends, and that's where you put the comma. One is being able to pick out what is the phrase that's called interrupting, or it's a phrase in a sentence that doesn't have to be there for the sentence to work. So it's going to ask you to identify that. And then finally, it's going to ask you to write down the word in a sentence and place a comma after it before where the quotation marks would start in those sentences. So when you see these in the textbook, it'll make more sense. But it's just those three exercises there. Should be pretty easy to do. I think everybody's done great on the last couple of grammar assignments, so I'm not too concerned. But if you have questions, you can let me know. But that is our grammar assignment. The real meat of this week coming up, I know, my dog Huckleberry is wanting me to throw a ball rather than talk about our discussion forum. The week 16 discussion forum is basically what's being really focused on. And this is our final prep for argumentation this week. So, and most of you have already done the assignment for it, so that's awesome. And really, it's just asking how you feel about argumentation, what you think about it. Oh, I'm a week off. Let me go back. Sorry about that. I was like, we're already doing that right now. Let me go to week 17. Okay. My bad. I was like, wait. So week 17 is our peer review forum. There we go. Our peer review forum is basically where we've done this with our papers in the past, where you just add your draft of argumentation to your post, and then please try to attach rather than copy and paste the paper, because I can't really give you a lot of feedback if you copy and paste. If you're not familiar with how to add an attachment, let me switch back to my faculty view. What you do is basically you just go, and this is our last discussion forum too. So what you do is you go down here, you go to add post, and let me throw this ball for him. You do argument paper draft and say, this is my draft for paper number 4. What do you think? Do the points make sense? You basically, if you have any questions about the paper, you can add them to the forum here. And then what I'm going to do is go down to select from my computer. I'm going to select a file, let's say Ag Business, and then I've got to click Add. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a link to that file in blue, and then you'll also note that there is a trash can there, so if you pick the wrong file on accident, you can trash it and re-add, but if not, I'm going to preview what it'll look like. It'll be like that, and then I can click Submit. So that's what you want to do with your drafts. Now, argumentation, you can go a lot of different ways with this paper. Some students treat it like a compare and contrast, where they're comparing and contrasting two things, and they're just picking a side and going with it. Others treat it more like just a standard essay. They've got a point they're trying to prove, and the essay uses resources and citations to prove that. As far as citations on this paper go, in English 121, you'll focus more on MLA, and especially in English 122, you will as well. I would recommend trying to cite your sources. Try to do some citations if you can. I'm not going to grade a whole lot on citations because this is 109. You're still building up to 121 where you're going to learn more about that. But a nice resource to kind of open up would be Purdue OWL. Purdue OWL is run by Purdue University in Indiana. They have an awesome English department, and they have an entire wing dedicated to MLA and citations. So when you Google Purdue OWL, this will pop up. I know, buddy. This will pop up, and you want to go to MLA Guide, and this is going to show you the different types of things to cite. So you can do this right up here, where if you've got a website or a book or a journal article, you can do that. So if I had New York Times, let's say, yeah, it's going to take me to a citation machine. I'm not a fan of that, though. Hold on. What, buddy? No, give me the ball. Okay. I'm not a fan of that, though. What I would do instead is go down here to the basics. That's in-text citations, to learn how to cite in text. So it'll show you like what you do when you have citations of a print source with an author. Usually it's just the author, last name, and the page number. It'll show you how to do that. If you go up here and you do how to cite a book, it will show you how to cite a book. Like right there. So, I mean, you can explore the site. I'm not going to grade heavily on MLA, but I do want you to experiment with it, see what feels comfortable to you, and then let me know if you have questions as you're citing your text. Okay? So again, I'm mainly concerned with you getting a draft uploaded, with me being able to see your work and being able to grade and evaluate it. All right? And for your peers to see it too, because I think it's awesome you guys get to write and your peers get to see it. So, your argument writing is here. Pay no attention to that cause and effect. It should say argument. Your drafts are due by Friday night, and then your 2 peer-reviewed responses are due by Sunday. Okay, so that's the main thing this weekend, is getting your draft up, doing the grammar assignment, and then the final reflections due next Sunday. As for finals week, you can't see this yet, but this is what we have due between May 5th and May 10th. So your final exam and your Dropbox for argumentation will both open up on May 5th, this coming Sunday. So you will be able to get online starting Sunday and work on your final exam and your final Dropbox. Now, I will go ahead and tell you this, that do not submit your final exam, or let me phrase that, trying to throw a ball. Do not submit your final draft of your argument paper until you get feedback from me. Because I do have some students that they submit their draft to the discussion forum and they submit it, let's say, Saturday, and I don't get to it till Monday or Tuesday, and then they're like, well, I don't want to wait anymore, I'm just going to go ahead and submit the paper. Don't do that, because there may be some revisions that I suggest to you. Once you've done these 2 assignments, you can't go back and redo them. So just be conscious of that. Hold on. Give me the ball. Well, I'm not playing that game. So please keep in mind that these 2 assignments are both due by Friday, May 10th at 11:55 p.m. Our entire class and any SIC class shuts down at 11:55 on Friday night, meaning that finals are officially over and now instructors get to start grading to get grades in by next week, which I'll talk about in next week's video, in our last lecture video. Because of that, I cannot accept any work past Friday, May 10th. So please keep that in mind, because I've had a few students in the past that they did not either watch this video or they didn't read where it says very clearly that that they, didn't do it, and they'll ask me on Saturday or Sunday, be like, hey, can I submit that final paper? And I'll unfortunately have to say no, because our class shuts down. So if you're worried about technology, if you're worried about work schedules, try next week to get stuff turned in early if you can. Just bear that in mind, please. But other than that, I will talk about the last week together next week. Hopefully I'll have time before I do the video to review your reflection essays, to kind of touch base on those. And then if you have questions about the draft or about your argument paper in general, don't hesitate to email me. I will be in my office in the afternoons this week, not in the mornings, kind of hit or miss. You can call, leave me a voicemail. You can email me anytime and I'll answer questions. It's totally up to you, but I do want to make myself available to help answer questions, because I know it's kind of crunch time. You're doing a lot of classes, you've got a lot of stuff going on, but I will be there as a support and resource for you for these last coming weeks. All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But otherwise, I look forward to reading your drafts and seeing your work this coming week. Make sure you get these other assignments that are due tonight finished, and then I will talk to you all next week for one last video. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.